Have you noticed how most people in and around your life have been hypnotized, brainwashed into nonsense thinking, strange behaviors, and bullshit? If you have, you're special, you're rare, you're awakened. And if you want to be around like-minded people who want to level up through truth, no bullshit, join my community for free, the No Bullshit Society. The link's in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Have you known someone maybe your entire life and now you don't recognize them anymore? Have you tried really hard to work on a friendship relationship and yet you've never managed to ever go to that next level, that deeper level? Have you been in a marriage or relationship where you feel misunderstood? Well, you are not alone. What's happened here is you have heightened, especially these last few years, your awareness. This runs deeper than conspiracy theories. This certainly runs deeper than doomer talk. This is your growth. These past few years especially, you have grown as a human being. You remember the world to be very different. You have standards and you adhere to them. And you call people out to meet you to those standards. And no, your standards are not unrealistic. No, you are not a toxic, evil person. If anything, you're a decent person. You're hardworking. You're ambitious. You're conscientious. And your tolerance for nonsense and bullshit is at an all-time low. Well, what about the masses? What about 90 to 95% of forget the population of people that you know? I've made many videos and you've no doubt in my mind said this to yourself and others, that people have changed, that the world has changed, that things feel different, things don't feel as exciting anymore, it all feels a bit flat, it feels a bit numb, it feels weird. Once again, I'm here to reassure you, that you are not alone. The reason why you feel this way and think this way is because, like I said, your awareness has been heightened. For years and years, you have operated on a different spectrum, in the sense that you've put other people first, that you've prioritized the needs and wants of others, that you people pleased, that you were way too empathetic and took on way too much energy, way too much information, way too much aura of others. And it drained you, it broke you, and here's the most amazing thing. Despite ticking every box and doing everything right, you still ended up betrayed. You still got scammed. You still got cheated on. You still got heartbroken. You still became unhealthy. You were still miserable. That's the thing. People have been hypnotized and brainwashed to believe bullshit. For example, certain people believe by ticking boxes in their lives that happiness is almost guaranteed to them. As long as I get a degree, which most jobs now are going to be replaced by AI. But hey, as long as I get a degree, as long as I move out and rent or buy a place, as long as I find any partner to settle down with and must get married as soon as possible, as long as I bring children into this world and raise a family, that's that. These people are always looking for the next thing and the next thing. And then once you've got all of those things, what's next? Well, it's not your career. It's not to have more kids. You can't get married again to the same person. You get trapped. And through that, and nothing else to do, these people distract themselves through social media, through hobbies that they don't really enjoy. They say they like golf, but they don't really do so. They say they like going to the gym, but, it's just to pass the time. They're trapped and they're stuck. And then that's where distraction really takes over, through Netflix, through doom scrolling, through wasting time, through drinking alcohol, through maybe recreational drugs. It is no surprise that these people, between the ages of 40 and 60 especially, have full-blown mental breakdowns, or, as we commonly call it, midlife crises. That is their psyche and their body trying to awaken to the programming that they found themselves in, especially those that tick the boxes. Why? Because they were hypnotized, bullshitted, and manipulated to assume if I tick all those boxes, I'm going to be happy. Or if I follow the rules, who set the bloody rules to begin with, by the way, everything's going to work out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with settling down and getting married and buying a house. But if you're doing it for the sake of it, you don't know why, you are hypnotized, my friend. How about your career? Let's say you studied really hard, worked so hard to become a doctor, a lawyer, a partner in the firm. You've worked your way up. Great. Where to now? Do you start your own firm? Do you start your own practice? Or you recognize and realize that you were brainwashed and manipulated to get to that position to make others rich and others to profit off your hard work and your modern day slavery. Again, I am not telling you not to work hard, but why did you become a doctor? Ask any Asian child and they'll tell you, my parents told me to. Who told their parents? Where did that come from? And forget even the Asian culture. What about your culture, your family home? Why are you in the line of work? Why have you taken over your father's business? Why are you working the way you do? Why do you work? Let's talk about money now. We are more hypnotized as people than ever before to spend money in the most frivolous and ridiculous ways. And thanks to the age of the internet and social media, there are now things that never existed before to spend money on. For example, you can spend money on OnlyFans and make women richer. You can spend money on digital artwork and say you own it, but never actually hold it or use it. You can spend money on multiple streaming platforms, which all provide pretty much the same level of content. But hey, it's going to make you happy, right? It's going to distract you from being awakened. It's going to basically get you out of that trance. So let's keep you in the trance by distracting you. And don't get me started on food and drink. There are more restaurants than ever before. Click a couple of buttons on your phone and food will come direct to you. But have you noticed that food doesn't taste the same anymore? Especially in my country, the UK. In fact, in any country now. It's not the same. What used to be quite plentiful, used to be quite tasty, used to be a nice treat, now tastes like trash. Tastes like nothing. But hey, the sugar, the pesticides, the processed, it's just the click of a button away. And don't even get me started on the alcohol or even the coffee consumption. One of the most underrated addictions is coffee. Before, you used to go to Starbucks to get a coffee, and Starbucks was this fashionable thing. Now there's multiple clones of Starbucks everywhere, serving the same crap, which is a drug in a cup, to fuel you, to keep you hypnotized. You cannot be tired whilst being hypnotized, can you? You've got to have energy. You've got to give your all. A study has shown recently that people are detoxing from everything and raw dogging. What the hell does that mean? For example, there was a trend on social media, believe it or not, where people will go on 4 or 5 hour flights and stare at the seat in front of them with no phones, no distractions, to see and test their mental fortitude if they could do it or not. People would call them crazy. People would say, what are you doing? Why you're not reading? Why you're not doing anything? But actually what these people were doing was training their brains to become self-aware. And now, you don't have to do it on a plane. You can turn your phone off, the distractions, and sit in a quiet room with nothing but your thoughts. By doing so, you escape the trance. And suddenly the inspiration, your soul, life, God, whatever you want to believe in, a collection of all these things come to you. It took me having to be locked out of my home, in my car on a rainy day waiting for a locksmith without a phone, to have the epiphany years ago that I needed to walk away from a toxic relationship. I did the same thing originally, sat on a beach overlooking the ocean to come up with my first business idea. I also came up with an idea in my garden that got 1 million views on this YouTube channel. When we silence the noise, when we detach and ideally go out into nature, we're awake we ask ourselves the same old question. What the hell am I doing with my life? Why am I working that job? What am I saving or earning money for? Why am I always looking to the next thing? What truly makes me happy? What is happiness to me? Why can't I find peace? Once you ask yourselves those questions without bullshitting yourself, and once you answer them, you've awoken from the trance. And it will feel like you're alone, but you are not alone. 800 other people are leveling up through truth in my community, the No Bullshit Society. Join today. The link's in the description and pinned comment below. But you will also get that desperate feeling to say, I need to wake other people as well. Because for the first time in your life, when you wake up from the trance, which was planted in you from school days and so on, you're free. You're free to go where you wish, eat how you wish, travel to a degree, to have that career you've always wanted, to have a relationship or maybe not have a relationship, to debunk myths online, and to step outside of the bubble that has protected you and kept you there since you were born. You will be cast a rebel. They'll call you difficult. They try to conform you. They will shout and scream and bully and abuse you. Let them. Because the man or woman you will become, awoken, away from this bullshit, is a threat. Here's the reason why you're a threat. Because you cannot be controlled. It is time to truly understand self-mastery. It is time to control yourself and your life and your destiny. Up until this point, whoever, whatever, however has done so. Maybe it's time you took the wheel of your life and steered it in the direction it needs to go.